What is up, guys? Boot campers, blended EDs. We're on our way to blended EDs. Really excited today. I got my co-host. Who am I? Justin Avini. I got my co-host Desiree DeBay on. We're gonna kind of go over our why. And really, I love this series. The way we're doing this is because we're really slowing it down and taking time for things that sometimes we come into these businesses and maybe we hit ranks at a certain rank and we're going, and some of you guys may even be ED, but I think this boot camp is amazing on this journey because we get so involved in moving forward so fast sometimes we just don't really focus on the important things. So last week, hopefully you guys all put your stories together and we texted our videos off to our mentor coaches. If we haven't done that, I really challenge you to do that. And take a few minutes. I mean, when I post videos, I'll be open with you guys. When I post videos in the groups, I practice for a few minutes. I want to make sure I'm getting everything and all my points in. So it's not a right or wrong. Remember, your story is your story. We can help you maybe better explain it, but it's still your story. So there's no right or wrong. So if we can move forward with that, make sure if you haven't done that yet, get your stories out to your mentor coaches. Don Maydell ended last week with an amazing go challenge yourself to share with a stranger a day. And hopefully we've started to do that. I've been messaging a lot of people and reaching out to people that they're not in my friends on Facebook. And I've been kind of challenging myself to do that as well. So really excited for today. I'll introduce Desiree DeBay. We're going to kind of start with what is important to us and kind of why we started this. We'll start, from back 6.5 years ago for myself. And moving forward where we're at, because our whys do change, and that's the challenge. Is sometimes we get content wherever we're at, and I know some of us are newer coaches, some of us are seasoned coaches, but this is really something really good to visit because life happens, and we want to make sure that we're on track for what we need. So pens and papers out. Another thing too, we're all family here. If I'm gonna be real, I know I'm recording this, but if you're not naked, let's hop off these videos and let's be here. Let's be present. Let's have our hairs out. I didn't get my makeup done today. My eyelashes aren't on. I know Des got hers done. But let's be here. Let's be present. Let's have fun. We're all family here, and that's important. So if you guys can undo your videos or take a second, get situated to where you can be off your video, we'd love to see your faces and really engage. This is an important time to grow. So Desiree, you want to kind of go on and share what your why was at the beginning, maybe how it's changed over time, or where you're at with those points.
Yeah, and I'd kind of like to toss this back and forth as a conversation just so they can kind of see how we interact and how much fun we have with it, Justin. So as far as my personal why goes, gosh, it's so crazy because like Justin said, our why evolves over time. So when I first started this, it started very simple and very small. My husband and I, we were not even fiancés at the time yet, but we knew that that's where we wanted to go. So we had small goals as to being able to get married, but I guess it's kind of a big goal because I wanted to be able to have the wedding of our dreams and not feel like we couldn't have all of our friends and family with us. So that's kind of where it started. And, everybody kind of tosses around the whole, I want to bring my spouse home thing. Why though? Why is that so important? So for me personally, I loved how he was able to take all of July off this year, our month of convention. And when we had those full 4 weeks together that were uninterrupted, it was so nice to be able to wake up in the morning together and we would take turns getting each other's coffee. And, he was helping with the baby. And it wasn't just me trying to juggle everything all at the same time while he was getting up at 3 a.m. to go to work. We actually got to have a real partnership. So for me, that is why I want to have my spouse home, is so that we can truly live life together. So, of course, bringing him home is important to me. And then, being able to be fully present for our kids and not skipping a beat, being able to be there for every single milestone. And I know John is so super happy to see that I get to experience all of Jordan's milestones, but I know deep down he wants to be a part of those too, and not just seeing the firsts on video, right? So for us, that is the most important. And then when we kind of go a little bit further, we know that we want to buy a home. And we want to buy a home that's big enough to entertain. We want to be able to host all of the family events there and all of the holidays and have everyone together in one room and not just split up families because, you know, nobody has a home big enough to do that. I want to be able to have events for all of you guys to come to, like Justin does. I love that he's able to do that and, you know, kind of have people all over the house throughout the week so that we can all be working together and the kids are playing and then nobody's worrying about finding childcare because we all just kind of take turns rotating. Okay, I have a call right now and then someone else jumps in to take care of the kids. I love that, you guys. To me, that is ultimate freedom, is being able to truly design our own lives. So for me personally, that is my why. I know we use the word community, but friends, you guys, we've all gotten to make friends here with each other. And it's a whole nother level of friendships. And I adore the friends that I've grown up with, but isn't it so crazy how high we get together? Like we all have a common goal, right? We're all in love with this program. We're all here for a reason. And we're so misunderstood from some of the other, you know, outside community, but we have that understanding here. We know what the power is that this breeds. And so being able to be a part of this together and hang out with you guys more and fly across to wherever to go be together and hang out and be able to turn all these events into vacations, that is what I live for. So this program's my why. And I love saying that. And I see Mom on here. I know we've talked about, you know, being a part of Optavia and being Optavia, and what does that mean? And for me, it means that I breathe it. I live it, I breathe it, I represent it. I like to go out and be places and not sell, Optavia, 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 but be able to genuinely share my story and genuinely talk about, man, I feel so blessed to be here because of this program that fell into my lap. Imagine if it would have missed me. But this is it, you guys. And with that comes, I know status it sounds like an egotistical thing, but how good does it feel when we hit different ranks? How good does it feel when we get celebrated by the people that care about us and our mentors? Mentors have mentors. I posted something about that yesterday. This is what makes me feel alive. This is my why. Go ahead, Jay.
Solid. I like it. I'm over here taking notes too. Cool. So I think one of the coolest things is I'm going to start. I've been doing this a while now, and one of the cool things, like I mentioned to you, you always want to be hungry for more. You never want to settle. Something that, and I'm sharing this with you guys because this is kind of important. I want to be unplugged with you, even though, like I said, some of us are seasoned coaches, some of us are brand new. But I want to be more open with you guys at the beginning because it's important to see where our headset's at and what that means. You know, as you guys get further into this, you may not know who Doug Wood is, but he says $3,000 in this business can be dangerous because it can cause us to get into a happy place. We're just over not being broke. We're just over not having to live paycheck to paycheck. And we can get in a stagnant place, right? And I'm not saying that everybody wants to go out and build this crazy business. They don't have to. But organically, if you show up at a job, well, let me back that up, not organically. If you show up at a job and you do your job, you're at a position where you're going to get paid whatever they value you at, right? In this, for some reason, we don't show up and do the same thing as if we were to get fired in that job. But organically, it's going to grow into a position to where we're at. But then there's some of us that, for myself, I quit my job cold turkey with this. I wanted to be able to be free. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. And honestly, all that was $2,000 a month. I didn't make a lot, so I didn't spend a lot. If I could cover my bills, I didn't need to go do a bunch of stuff. And that was my first goal, just covering my first why, just covering my bills. I made about $2,700 a month at the time. And if I got it down to nuts and bolts of not going out with friends to the bar and doing stuff, then I could literally stay home on $2,000 a month, out of the sun, out of getting yelled at, out of being up at 4 a.m, out of being Christmas Eve, delivering paychecks while your boss is out at the river, having fun with his family, you know, things like that. That was my intentional why right out the gate. I didn't really understand that at the time, but that was my why. And then it evolved as I started to make decent money. Then I started to think, wow, well, what's next? Well, a house, a family, a truck, a boat. These are things I wanted, an RV or a trailer, right? So these are things that started to evolve. Then it got even to another place. Now it's investment properties, savings accounts for my two girls, emergency funds for friends or family. Like if something goes south, there's a way to be able to help friends and family if I need to. One of my coolest things now is I'm looking into buying an investment property for my brother and working with him up in Chico State. He's going to stay there while he's going to school, but I'm going to help him do that. So this is where your why constantly changes. And the reason I say that is we talk about structural tension sometimes. And if you guys don't know what that means, it just puts us in a position to where structural tension can be this way. It can be fun or it can be painful. When you go to a job, structural tension is if you don't do your job or you don't perform, you get fired. That's your structural tension, right? In this business, your structural tension is if you put down goals and what things can be for you on the days we wake up at 6 a.m. And some of us don't want to be on here right now, right? We got on, we were true to our word. We got on this boot camp and we really wanted to be able to go grow into something. That's why we're here. But some days we don't feel like doing that. Some days we don't feel like connecting with people, and that's okay. But understanding what our why is, and we always say, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. And I know I've cried with a few of you guys on here, so I understand that we can find that. We definitely can. But when people get discouraging, because life happens, when people say, no, I'm not interested, that can be something that's not exciting, right? But if we really understand where we're going and we really understand what our purpose is, then we can definitely push through those days. For me, at the beginning, I didn't really care what people thought. I didn't really have that thought process of worrying about what they said. And I wasn't saying all the right stuff, and I don't recommend saying this, but I would literally say, look, I just made $3,000 last month and my coach is making this, and this is where I'm going. And this is what I want to do. And why do I want to do that? And why do I believe that so much? It's because I really wanted a house. I really wanted to start a family. I didn't want to make $15 an hour. I wanted to have a savings account. I wanted to be able to travel more. I wanted to be able to buy a boat. I wanted to be able to buy a truck. I wanted to be able to do all these things. I wanted to be able to travel. When I got to certain places, like Desiree says, I put a map on a board of when I got to this rank, this represented I could buy this. When I got to this rank, it represented I could do this. When I got to this rank, it represented I could do this. And those were some goals, because as I looked up at those, I was like, okay, we got to do this today. Let's do this. And so we really want to understand the importance of our why. If we're just kind of cruising along, it's not going to work for us when we get 17 no's on a Monday. Or it's not going to work for us because your best friend said, oh my God, you're doing that. You're doing one of those. Or, wow, the food doesn't taste that great today. You got one of those clients and you're just like, man, can I just get to the next person because I want to be positive? As simple as these things sound, guys, life happens to us, right? We want to keep good energy. But if we can believe wholeheartedly that we can get these things, anything's possible, right? That's the thing. And here's an example. I love Dan Bell. I don't know if you guys know who Dan Bell is, but he created our comp plan. And this is probably a real emergency why, if you thought about it, but you would go do it. I bet you. He literally got up on stage one day and he says, look, if I put $1 million cash right here next to me, and I said, let's go sign up 20 people and I'll give you the $1 million. How many of you guys in here would figure out how to sign up 20 people? What's the difference in the visual? You have a possibility of making $1 million here. And I understand it's not about the money, but it's about what we can do with it. It represents time freedom. It represents dreams. It represents goal obtaining, right? But that's the point is, why would you have to have the $1 million cash here to then go sign up 20 people? There's no difference. So that's why we want to take some time today to really kind of go over our whys. What I would like to do, honestly, and this is what I'm saying, your why is your why, your story is your story. So I'd like you to come off mute or raise your hand and I'll bring you off mute. I'd like a few of you guys to please share your whys and really understand that. In a little bit, we're going to actually go over what our whys can be. And we're actually going to ask you guys to maybe revamp your whys as you go through. Because some of us, maybe we have some whys, but I really want us to understand how you can get into where if your why doesn't make you cry. And I'm not going to ask you to cry on here. But what I'm saying is if we really just have that superficial, well, I just want to bring hubby home. Well, what does that mean? Well, I just want to get to integrated national. Well, what does that mean? Right? My kids are my why. Well, what does that mean? Right? You have to have details to these things, guys. You have to want to believe these things. You have to want to live these things and breathe these things. You want to have that tingling feeling when you think about what's possible. When you have that, when I had that, I could make $2,000 a month, and then I saw the next level of what Jamil was making and what was possible. I walked through a brick wall if he told me to, because that's how much I believed it. And that's how much I was excited to go do that. Why? Because I had that endorphin kick in. Up here, frontal lobe, right? I had the endorphins kick in. I had the excitement kick in. And if we really understand that, you guys can have anything you want. You guys can donate. You guys can travel more. You guys can do things that I never thought was possible, to be honest with you. I'm thinking I come into this making $2,000 a month, and now I'm on a next stage level where it's like, wow, I can actually go own a truck. I can go buy a house. I can go start a family and not stress on where the formula is coming from or where the diapers are coming from or things like that. Simple stuff. I can afford to fix up my front door. I can afford to, if I have a flat tire, I don't have to put it on a credit card. It can be simple things, guys. It doesn't have to be this, I want to own an island. I want to own a sailboat. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be those things at the beginning, but as we get further in, they can happen. So
and
anyways,
Justin, real quick, let's give people like 30 seconds to a minute to think about this real quick. And can I share a couple of questions that I wrote down?
Yeah, go for it.
So you already said, I mean, this isn't a question, but if your why doesn't make you cry, it isn't your why. We're going to keep telling you guys that because that we feel that when we say that. Okay, so here's one of them. What do you enjoy versus what do you love? What are the things you would do for free?
Hold on, slow down. Read the first one back because I know people are writing. I see.
Okay. So what do you do versus what do you love? What do you enjoy versus what do you love?
Everybody got that one?
And then next is, what are the things you would do for free? What are the things you would do for free? What makes your heart race?
Besides the dentist or the tax guy.
Right.
Just kidding.
What makes your heart race? That's where we start hitting the feelers right there, you guys. What makes your heart race? And then next is, what would make you feel like your life is perfect? What would make you feel like your life is perfect? So take a minute to read those and let's find our whys if we don't already know what they are.
So while people are looking at those and maybe taking notes on what they think their why is, does anybody want to share what they think their why is or what they know their why to be? And when I say think, the reason I say that is sometimes we've never been challenged to ask these things. You know, when you go to a job, they don't ask you what you want. They ask you what you can give them, right? So this is a challenging thing to think about. And some of us are like, this might be kind of silly, but it's really not. Our vision is to help you guys get to where you're at. Right? So it's going to take a few minutes to wheel back and think, what do I want? Because we don't ever really get asked that, right? So does anybody want to come off mute? I can unmute you and share. Let's go with Mark. I see Mark waving over here. Oh, and then we'll go to Deb next, and I think we got Joe. Mark, Deb, Joe. Hold that, and then we got probably more. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. My big why would be, I'm kind of tired of making a millionaire richer with all my ideas and everything at my job. probably the one that hits my heartstrings the most is I really, really want to send my kid to a good college. He's a really smart kid, and I'd love to get him started maybe with a house someday. Um, and I don't see that in my direct future but not saying that I can't achieve it because I've achieved a lot of things. So I think one of the things that makes my heart race the most is the connections I can make with people, especially my family. I have a goal, a 5-year goal. Hopefully it's a 3-year goal, but a 3 to 5-year goal to buy a big diesel truck and a fifth wheel and travel around the country doing health assessments. And,
That's
you
awesome.
know, so those things right now, as they stand, don't seem possible. And so it does tug at my heartstrings a little bit, knowing that, man, how am I going to send my kid to an Ivy League school? That's going to cost a ton. But he deserves it, and I know he can do it. So those are all things I'm kind of working on. It's more directly with family than anything. I do live in a beautiful place. I'm very blessed with where I live and what I have now, but that's not good enough for me right now, and I want it to be better.
That's awesome. And is that a real view? Are you out by a lake or something?
Yeah, I'm on my dock.
Oh man, that's a horrible morning. That looks amazing, bud. Well, perfect.
Yeah.
So is it cool if I kind of work with you and maybe awaken a few more like ideas behind your why, right? Ivy League school, diesel truck, traveling around, doing health assessments.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. So wanting to buy your son a house, wanting to get him into an Ivy League school and be able to afford it, a 3 to 5 year plan is travel around and, own a diesel truck and a trailer or a motorhome of some sort and do things like that, right?
Yep.
So this is a great example. Our first transformational habit is we lead from the future. And sometimes people don't really understand what that means, but your 3 to 5 year goal is you want to basically, if I had a stage in front of me, my hand's over here and I'm standing over here, we're here right now, current reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over here is 3 years. Let's say 3 years. We don't need 5 years, right? We can do this in 3. So in 3 years, you want to be able to, and maybe the time frames are different for your son going to college and things like that. But as far as the diesel truck, purchasing him a home, traveling, we'll just use that as an example. We want to step over here and really say, okay, wow, let's think about that for a second. Man, if I could really do that. Now I'm here. I'm doing that. I'm feeling that diesel truck steering wheel. I'm driving down the road through Colorado or Texas or up into Canada for a day or two. Hey, just kidding, Beverly. But I'm up traveling around. I'm going to these different places. I'm picking out these campgrounds that I want to stay at, these luxury resorts, and maybe these little up in the sticks where there's no reception. And I'm just out there, checked out in nature, and I'm seeing the bears go by and the deers, and I'm out fishing in the morning on different lakes that I've mapped out. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
now I've bought my son this house and he's enjoying it. And maybe he's got a girlfriend or, I don't want to fast forward his life, but whatever he's got going on, he's able to, have friends over and he's able to focus on school, and he's got maybe his car going that's exciting for him. And he's really kicking butt at school, and I'm able to afford these things for him to do. And now I'm out here blessing so many lives, right? That's where we want to envision this. Now, lead from the future, act in the now. The act in the now is let's get real about it. If we're going to really talk about a 3-year game plan, right? I talked about this with our GPS on the Agents of Transformation. Even for our business, if you get into a truck, your brand new diesel and your trailer, right? And you say, take me north, what is your trailer going to do? I mean, what is your GPS going to do? It's just going to spool.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to know where to take you unless you can GPS a coordinates this street in New York City, or guesstimate where you're going. Even then it's going to say, okay, go 100 feet and turn left on Susan Street and then go right for 2 miles and go up, right? Those are the action steps. So if we can get clear on 3 years, here's what I can tell you. If we come back over here and we say, okay, in 3 years, in 2023, January 1st, at 9 a.m., I'm going to go into an RV dealership and I'm going to buy myself a trailer, and I'm going to go buy myself a truck. Probably got to go to the truck place first, but I'm going to go get myself a truck. So today, right now, I need to start sharing this with at least 5 people a day. I need to start creating 2 coffee conversations with people a week. I need to start posting 4 to 5 times a day. Doesn't matter how I feel. Doesn't matter if I'm sick. Doesn't matter if I'm tired. Because most of us will go to work sick because our bosses aren't friendly. Most of us will go to work tired and be robotic because we're afraid to get fired. Most of us will go to work upset and don't care what our boss is saying, but he's pissing us off, right? But because we have to pay bills. That's a negative structural tension chart. But if we have our envision of our 3-year plan, what our son's house looks like, if we can smell the fresh paint because you need to update it, it's a fixer-upper. If we can smell the fresh tile in the kitchen, if we can smell the fresh paint on the cabinets, if we can smell the chlorine in the swimming pool or the saltwater pool, whatever he wants or wherever he's at, right? The fresh grass if you're out in the country. If we can really feel that, then what's going on over here is we're doing these action steps no matter what. And we believe, here's the big one, we believe that 3-year mark, you'll be able to get those things. You kind of see how that is? And if you have exact coordinates, your GPS is going to say, okay, so Mark, we need to talk to 5 people a day about the program. Just share it flat out. We don't care if they need it, they don't need it. They may know somebody that needs it. We don't know. We need to be posting 3 to 5 times a day on Facebook. I know some of you guys are newer coaches, so work with your mentors on that if you're not into that spot yet. But we need to be able to structurally build out 2 hours a day to what this looks like, because anything less than 2 hours a day for your goals in 3 years isn't efficient enough. We need to make sure we're clear on that. To be able to, like I said, set up 2 coffee dates a week with friends, or 2 dinner dates with people. We need to constantly be writing down our list of 100, thinking of new people that we want to share this with, that maybe are old high school buddies or old college buddies or old work people that, man, back in the day, we used to really struggle paying bills. I got to find that guy. I got to find that lady. I got to work with those people and get our action steps down. In 3 years, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have that diesel truck. You're going to have that RV or that trailer. You're going to have that house for your son. He's going to be in that Ivy League school without stressing. You're going to have that savings account for these emergency alpha, beta, zeta, data things that maybe he's going to be involved in. Who knows, right? All of a sudden he's the president of a triple Z or whatever they call him. I don't know. I never went to college, but I'm just saying you're able to do these emergency things for him. You're able to go, hey, Pop, we're going to have this awesome football game up here this weekend. I'd love for you to come up. Yeah, I can't make it, son. Maybe next time. No. Plane ticket and you're gone, right? Why? Motorhome up there or RV up there, right? Or trailer up there, because you can do that, right? We said you had the RV then. Maybe go hang out with them for a week in the house you bought. Make sure it's got RV parking, by the way. But do you feel that? Do you feel that energy? Like, do you get the tingles when we're talking about this? Like, it's happening. Like, we're there. It's going on, right? That's the emotion that we need to keep track of when people are like, yeah, that program, I don't need spaceship food. Nah, the bars kind of taste weird. I got this thing in the back of my throat, or man, I just pushed out this order. Or, you know what? Yeah, I'd love to do your program, but finances are out of whack right now. I got to talk to my husband. And then they ghost you. Or you're messaging 20, 30, 40 people on Facebook and, oh my God, nobody's getting back to me. They all hate me. They think I'm a weirdo for reaching out. Doesn't matter. Why? Because Mark's going here. And there is people, like every single one of us on this call, that needs this, right? In some form or fashion. That's your vision. Some other single mom, she may only need $500 a month to have a decent car so she can make it to her nursing job that pays well, but it doesn't pay enough for a broke down car because she's got 2 kids and she's single. Or, you know, a dad the dad that works 100 hours a week and the wife stays home. The wife could, you know, contribute without having to worry about putting their 3 kids in daycare, right? So these are things we want to really attach. That emotion is there. Write it down. Put it on a bulletin board. Girls, take your chapstick. Take your makeup and put it on your mirror in your bathroom. Boys, hopefully you're not wearing lipstick. Maybe you do. I don't know. But put it on some sticky notes in your bathroom. Everywhere you look, believe that. That's not crazy stuff. Put it on your computer right here. Put it on the wall up here on your whiteboard.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
I always suggest for people to type it up really nice and frame it in a nice frame that they like having sitting out somewhere.
Any which way. But Mark, do you kind of see what I'm saying with that? Do you feel that as
Yeah.
we're talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to
Yeah.
revisit, and revisit that with your mentor too. Because right now is exciting, right? It's 6:34 in the morning, right? We're all excited. We're talking about this. I'm sure everybody else is kind of like, man, this sounds cool. I know what I got going on. Hopefully we're all getting that. Wink at me if you're getting that. But then we go back to reality. We go back to that boss. We go back to that job. We go back to that day-to-day stuff. We have to breathe that. So work with your mentorship. Make sure they know what you want so that you can keep on track too, because we breathe off of each other. So thanks, Mark. I appreciate you guys sharing. I know I talked a little bit more, but that was a great example. Deb, you want to share yours?
Cool.
Sure. Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Took notes.
Perfect.
All right. So mine has already evolved, I would say, in the 9 months that I've been coaching. So the first why was, sorry, I can't really see me. My first why was to replace my massage income by the time I retired so that I could see if I could make this work, to be real. And so I was able to do that. And then a part of that was also, and it's still my why, was to pay for my kids' college without having to dip into my husband's income. That's my really big why. Both my husband and I had our college educations paid for by our parents. And so we feel pretty strongly that we want to do that for our kids. Assuming that they wanted to go to college, and they are both in college now. I have a freshman and a junior, and it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Those of you that have kids in college, it's a lot. And we, my husband makes a decent income, but we didn't put much away for college because raising kids is expensive, right? So my goal by the time they are done with college is that we will, have paid for all of that outright. And I 100% see that potential as well. So, working on that. My next why is I would like to bring my husband home in 5 years. He'll be 55 at the time, and we'll have paid off the college, and we'll have, we'll continue to put money away for retirement, et cetera, et cetera. And so I would love for him to be able to, retire early, whatever that means. Because people say, oh, I thought you retired from massage. I'm like, I'm busier than ever. I'm definitely not retired. And then my last one that I have right now in the back of my head, and this feels, it also feels attainable, but a little bit farther out. Like definitely the more long-term goal is that once my husband is home with me, once Jeff's home with me, is I want to lead yoga and fitness retreats around the world. Like that's the thing that I want to just do for fun. And if I could bring people together and not charge them, even get just all my friends, let's go on a retreat and I'll lead yoga classes, etc. So that's sort of the long-term goal. And again, all of this feels, I feel like I'm on the right path. And certainly there are days when I'm like, yeah, this isn't happening. And then there are days like, this is happening, so yeah, I'm tearing up.
There you go. No, that's awesome. And I think that's important that you share that. Some days you feel like it's happening. Some days you feel like it's not happening. And that's just the emotional roller coaster of being a human, right? That's what we want to make sure we're doing. The idea behind that is because when we start to do that, human nature is almost, I don't want to say it's to prove ourselves wrong, but I'm going to say that it's to prove ourselves wrong. So we start not doing the action steps and then say, see, it's really not going to work out. If we stay doing the action steps, right? If we just believe in what's possible and don't shut down like most humans do. I'm just being open here, guys, right? This is something that I really want you guys to understand, because it didn't matter what somebody said to me. Like I said, if Jamil said, walk through a brick wall and on the other side, your pot of gold, right? I would do that because I understood where I was going. I believed in where I was going. And I'm pretty sure I haven't landed, by the way. I don't ever want you guys to think we're going to land, because we always want to advance. Like eventually who knows, Bev, you're going to be like, or Deb, you're going to be like, hey, girlfriend, let's roll. And she's going to be like, ah, and she's not a coach yet, so that's probably why. I'm just kidding. But hey, let's roll over here to Europe for a week. Oh, I can't, finances are tight. My boss, I got this deadline, right? Hey, girl, I got you covered. Let's go together. Like, how cool is that going to be, right? To be able to do things like that. Do you guys see the vehicle we have here? Like, for people to start dreaming things like that? Like, think about that. Does your boss call you in, say, hey, Tom, you're killing it. We give you not only a raise this week, but we're going to talk about some of your goals, how this job can help you pay for that swimming pool in the backyard, how this job can allow you to actually take your 2 weeks of vacation time and go somewhere that you can afford without throwing it on a credit card, right? Things of that nature. Actually retire you early. I've never been in a place where people can talk about retiring earlier than they planned on, right? By like years. How cool is that? So awesome, Deb. Like I said, same thing with Mark. I won't spend too much time on it. Hopefully you were taking notes, like you said. But really put action steps to that day-to-day. Lead from the future. That's our first transformational habit. We have the hot 6, right? Lead from the future, act in the now. What does that look like? Even if some days we feel like it's not going to happen. That's normal. That's normal feelings. But if we stay in action, it will happen, right? And know what those action steps are daily. So a lot of us hear about the 3x3 or connecting with one person a day. Mark, Deb, if that doesn't align with your guys' goals in 3 years and 5 years, and it needs to be more than that, be in tune with that, because that's like a false reality too. And that can cause us to be not so excited either. So just be really clear on what our goals are and then what our action steps are as our why. And our why should attach us to where we really believe in where we're going. Joe, you ready to go, brother? I'm going to share. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning, everyone. Justin, you and I talked at convention, and it was just a brief conversation, so you kind of understand where I'm going with this. But I remember we were on a team call, and you asked us what our whys were, and it took me a while to really figure it out. You know me. I'm private. I'm a private kind of person. I don't like to tell people personal things about me. But I talked to you briefly, said that I wanted to get a full-time caregiver for my mother. Well, I still struggle with it because Connie and I, we miss the time freedom. Sounds cruel. She's my mother's in the later stages of dementia. We've got a part-time person. And for us to feel bad or be upset or whatever the right word is, that we don't have that freedom to be able just to wake up in the morning and go, hey, let's go grab breakfast, or let's go to Disney, or let's go fishing, or whatever. We don't have that. We need it. We've been doing this for 4 years, not coaching, but taking care of her. 7 by 24, it doesn't stop. And for you guys that are younger, I'll be 64. My wife is going to be 62 this next month. In November, I'll be 64. Start now. Work hard. Get to where you need to go, because you don't want to be. I want to wake up in the mornings and be able to do what I want to do. We have a part-time caregiver now, so we have the freedom. We have 2 days we go to boot camp together, and Friday nights we go bowling. That's not enough. I feel guilty about that sometimes. I love my mother to death, and I always said she'd never go into a home. She'd always be with me, and that's where she is. But it is a struggle. Those are the things that we're striving for. When I get past that, we need to be able to have a new car. I don't care what it is. I'm not looking to drive all over the country because I'll get to the point where I'll get on an airplane. I ain't driving. Sorry, I've drove all my life, you know. But the reality is, I want to be there for my children. I want to be able. My son's getting married in March. He wants us to come up to Connecticut. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going. If it means I got to do 10 calls a day for 6 months, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to do. We've structured our stuff now where we need to do 2 health assessments a day. We're working at it. We've got our structure set. We're using our map. We've got list after list after list. We're in that. We're in that little storm change, a season in life where things aren't going real good business wise. I mean, we're getting a lot of, well, I can't afford it. I know I need to do something. Let me go check with my doctor, or let me research. And that's okay. We got some clients that are hitting their goals and saying, well, I think I could do this now. I don't need to do it. I don't let that bother me. That's one thing I don't do. My reality is I'm going to continue doing this because I'm planting seeds for 3 months down the road. So I know where I'm going to be. I told David when I first signed up on this plan, when he asked me what my goal was, I said, I'm going to be on the stage and I'm going to be a motivational speaker. I'm going to do that. I see it. I'm already working on the music. I'm already working on my speeches. I'm already working on my message. I want to what would I do for free? I want to be able, if the church says, hey, an air conditioner went out, not a problem. Call the air conditioner guy, get a new one put in, and pay for it. I just want to be able to do what I need to do for other people. If people say, well, somebody passed away in my family, I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have money for, I want to be able to help them, to do, that's the things I want to do. Instead of me going around mowing all the widows' lawns right now around me in my neighborhood, because I think that's an important thing that we should do. God expects us to do things like that. I'm getting tired. Man, let me go hire somebody to go out and do it, and just take care of it for them where they don't have to worry about it. That's me. I'm going to continue with this. God bless you. You did it in 6 years. I've got at least 6, 7 years to live. So I can be you. I'm going there. So, I've been fighting death for the last 7 years. I've made it. I run. I do things. I go to boot camp twice a week. I lift weights twice a week. I play golf twice a week. And I work this business every single day. And I'm not going to stop. When I looked at that convention and they asked us, Dan asked, how many of you lost 20 pounds? And there was tons of people standing up. And when it got down to over 100, there was only like 6 of us. And I know you say we're not a weight loss program, but for me, that's what turned me on in the beginning. Doctors told me I had 6 months to live 7 years ago. That shows you what they know. They don't know what they don't know. They didn't know that I have a fire inside of me that just ain't going to stop. They didn't know that I was a blue chipper when I came out of high school. I went to the University of Oklahoma on a full scholarship to play football. They didn't know that I blew out a knee, and I was told I could never probably. I asked them if I could play again, and they said, you'll be lucky if you can walk. So my health is what started me, Justin. But the reality is you've lit that fire in. I know what I need to do. I've been working with David really close. I've structured myself. I'm doing my map stuff. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Because at the end, when Dan said, how many of you lost 100 pounds? I looked around the room and there was only about 6 of us standing up. That puts me in the top 1%. So all I have to do is do the same thing with my mind shifts, with my self-determination, working on me, working on this business. I can become the top 1%. It's real simple. You tear open the package, you pour in the water, and you drink it, and your body absorbs it. Well, my mind's absorbing now. So I'm there. I'm doing it. Sorry that I got a little emotional, but I'm still a little bit torn between wanting freedom away from my mom and understand that I love her and I know she's not going to be around that much longer and we have to be, but it's a hard job. It really is. And we'd lose out on a lot of things in life. So just keep on plugging. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to work this thing and it's going to pay off. I'm just going to keep going. And that's it.
Love it, Joe. Thanks for sharing. And I think we can all respectfully say we understand like when you want to take care of family, but then at the same time it can be stressful taking care of family because you don't have any you time. It's like, I mean, with kids, you feel bad because you're busy, but then you need to have your own parent time, right? With kids even, or just in general, your job consumes you too. You're working 100, 120 hours a week or something, and you don't have no me time. Single moms, single dads, whatever walk. So we respectfully understand what you're saying for sure, brother. And we're going to definitely get you there. And I'm glad you're partnering. Structure is a big thing, understanding your path. So thank you so much for sharing, Joe. So I'm going to have Miss DeBay get on, and we're going to kind of just do a real quick 5-minute thing. We're going to let her share what it is.
Okay, so we're just going to let's go through those questions and just take 5 minutes to rewrite our why. Is everyone okay with that?
What I would suggest too, while they're doing that, Des, is so she gave you those 5 questions. Maybe bullet point it for now, guys, so you guys can fill in, like I was sharing with Mark, what the action steps would be later. So leave some space as you're doing that. And then if we have a few minutes towards the end, maybe 1 or 2 of you guys can maybe re-share with us like what your thought process was before doing this, and then as far as your why, and then now where you're at, or maybe add in some things you've maybe changed. So she's going to set a timer, right? Des, you set a timer?
Yeah, I'll set a timer starting now. Okay, let's go. Okay, that was the timer, guys. So we don't have much time left. We have about 4 minutes before the FIBC boot camp. So what I would love to see everybody do here is just really connect to their why and write down a few bullet points that goes along with that. And then also too, have a list of the people that you want to start connecting and sharing your story and your why with, so that we can start, moving forward toward whatever it is that is going to get us to our why faster, and just be crystal clear on where it is that you're going. Other than that, I mean, I really wanted to hear some people share, but we only have 3 minutes out. Justin, do you have any last things to say about action steps before we hop on to the next one?
No, I think that's great. You guys, I appreciate you guys all being on at 6 a.m. Some of you guys are East Coasters, so you kind of cheated. No, I'm just kidding. But appreciate for most of you guys getting on at 6 a.m. Mark, Joe, Deb, she had to hop off. She's got a class, which is awesome, teaching. But you guys really, like I shared with Mark, and I kind of use that as an example and a pivot point for everybody. Get with your mentors, schedule a call, let them know what your why is, because then you can get really clear to type into that GPS. Like, what do our daily actions look like? You know what I mean? Sometimes we see these 3x3x3s, or posting 2 times a day, or posting 5 times a day. And some of us get overwhelmed with some of the action steps. Let them know what your why is, so you guys can work forward. If it's baby steps, great. If you guys can build momentum, great. But at least you know where you need to be. So if they're saying talk to 7 people a day and that's intimidating to you, just know where your goal is going to be, and maybe push out the date a little bit or grow into that, right? I would challenge you guys to grow into that. Like Desiree said, make a list of people that are on your heart. I talked about that the other day. There could be people that you haven't talked to in years that are just going to pop into your head because Mark's story relates to you, where he works, what he does, or Mike's story relates to you as a truck driver, or David's story relates to you as an ex-vet, or Karen praise everything as a cancer survivor. So who do you know that that relates to these stories that you can share this with, that pops into your heart? Old coworkers, old friends, old high school buddies, old college buddies. You got the Joy and Donald show on here. They haven't talked to each other in 30 years, but those are people that they wanted to connect with, right? So that's how Joy reached out. So start to create that list, and let's get into action with our mentors. Let's schedule a call with our why, so they can give you action steps to know where to go and what that looks like, and really revisit what that emotion is going to be. Mark was in that place. He was thinking of that house. He was thinking of that truck. I'm sure he's got an idea of what that truck and trailer look like. I'm sure he's got an idea of what that house looks like for his son. I'm sure he's got an idea of a couple of Ivy League schools that he wants to pay for. I'm sure he's got an idea of what that finance looks like. But let's get those action steps dialed in behind that. Or like they say, goals are just dreams not obtained, right? Or dreams are just goals not obtained. I kind of hacked that one. But it's so true. We can obtain any of this stuff, right? And like Deb said, some days we feel like it's there and some days we don't. But we don't want to stop the actions. So appreciate you guys so much. You have a great day. Thank you so much for hopping on. Get with your mentors, man. And if you haven't, revisit last week. If you haven't shared your story with them on a video, texting them your video or Facebooking, whatever you want to do, let's share your story with them so they can help you with that too. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Desiree, thank you so much.
Thank you too.